I'm Tolu by Adeleru-Balogun, and this is News Central. Protests against a division of the Nigeria Police, the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, SARS, are still on. In about 20 cities across Nigeria, protesters have been demanding that SARS should be completely disbanded. Now, on October 4th, the Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, announced that he had banned the federal SARS and other tactical squads of the force. This includes the Special Tactical Squad, the Intelligence Response Team, the Anti-Cultism Squad, and others operating at the federal, zonal, and command levels from carrying out routine patrols and other conventional low-risk duties, that is, stop and search duties, checkpoints, mounting of roadblocks, traffic checks, and more. And he issued this command with immediate effect. Yet protests have continued and protesters have even grown in number. Joining me to discuss why protesters are still on the streets across Nigeria is Ndi Kato. Ndi is the founder of the Dinidari Foundation and also an activist, particularly for the inclusion of young people and women in politics. Ndi, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so let's get straight to it. Now, this is days after the Inspector General of Police has announced that the police division under the spotlight has been disbanded. Why are you and others still protesting across Nigeria?
I'll try to break it down and be as precise as possible. Number one, justice. The concept of justice is still very absent in this conversation. What is the concept of justice? Number one, we need that every person illegally detained by the Nigerian police force should be released. Number two is that police officers who are found to have been, who have been involved in human rights violations, no matter how minute, should be prosecuted by the full arm of the law. So that's one. Number two, accountability. The Nigerian police force needs to accept that its men have gone rogue. Number three is that, look, there are so many rotten eggs within this system, and this is not a system that can afford rotten eggs, and move within itself to correct these ills within the Nigerian police force. Number three is that compensation. Victims and families of victims of police brutality across Nigeria should be adequately compensated by the Nigerian police. They should be compensated with big and huge amounts of money paid by the Nigerian police for what the Nigerian police has done to people. And then finally, we want police reforms. Now, what is police reforms? We need decentralization of the Nigerian police. What we are seeing is that the IG is giving orders and saying that his men should not attack. Seeing Nigerian policemen attacking all over the country. What does that tell us? That the central commanding unit of the Nigerian police has failed, and Nigerian police can no longer be controlled by one office at the center. What does decentralization mean? It means that, look, right now we're fighting for state and community policing. And all these policemen who are shared indiscriminately around the country, by whatever method of sharing we don't understand, should be sent back to their individual states and communities that they come from, so that they can police those communities. We need this for Nigeria to even stand a chance at this point. Okay. In terms of also reforms that police should carry out, we need them to end SARS, end SWAT, end whatever name they are bringing, whatever new name they bring forward. This is a structural problem. It's a rot within the system, and a change of name is not going to work. You cannot tell us that you are going to be able to train new officers to take over a new tactical team in a week. We're not fools. The people you're dealing with are not fools. We know what it is, literate or illiterate. We know what it is we want, and we're demanding it clearly.
Okay.
Another thing we're looking at, I will not personally stick my neck out, but yes, there needs to be the increment and the increment of the salaries of police officers. But you see this increment, let's have this conversation very clearly. That increment does not take away corruption. What the police needs to do is top to bottom, it needs to sanitize the system. And that's what we're looking at. Take away the power of prosecution from the Nigerian police force.
Okay, so you've mentioned accountability, you've mentioned justice, you've mentioned compensation, setting up a panel as well, and even reform. And as you said, that you would be personally in terms of sticking out your neck for salary and wage increases. And that's been a part of the conversation even online. But many protesters have rejected that for now, saying that they're simply asking the police to stop killing them. So let's look at the fact that there are those who have said that the police is meeting you halfway, or the federal government, as it may be, is meeting the protesters halfway, that they've pledged a few things that the protesters have demanded. So why are you still on the street? So what do you say to those who have said it's necessary to give the federal government time to make good on its promises?
And Nigerian youth are saying we want to leave. We want human rights abuses to stop. We want you to reform your system in a way that this system will work for the better lives of Nigerians, protect us and not kill us. And you tell us you want to meet us halfway. What is the halfway point of human rights? Are you saying you were killing 10 before, you now kill 5 of us? We do not understand halfway. We did not come out to risk our lives for. It's an insult, and you're rubbing salt to injury and telling us that we do not deserve our rights. Right now, we young people in Nigeria are demanding our rights, and we're demanding all of our rights or nothing. We're demanding complete reforms. Halfway means that there is still a huge chance that my life as a Nigerian will be devalued, and many young men and women will still be arrested indiscriminately. You are asking that you should be able to hold on to your ability to abuse the rights of Nigerian youth. And we are saying that completely, no, we don't even want, again, one of the things I forgot to mention is the criminalization of torture by the Nigerian police. Even if you catch a criminal, you have no right to torture. You have no right to torture. There is no justification for torture. So this is it, that look, we don't want to meet halfway when it comes to our rights. It is all of our human rights or all of our human rights. It is all or all. There is no backing down. There is no nothing in this conversation. There is no middle ground. There is no middle ground when it comes to human rights.
Okay, so now over the past few days, we've seen attempts by government and maybe other concerned individuals to speak with individuals who may be considered influential on the protesters, those who are able to maybe exert some level of influence. But this has been rejected. Young Nigerians who have been on the streets have said that this is a movement without leaders. How is that?
I think that, Nigerians don't understand. Nigerians do not understand yet. I think a certain generation of Nigerians, let me put it at that, do not understand what this is. Look, many of the young people on the street do not understand the brutality of the military. They don't know it, and I'm thankful that they don't have to. Social media has broken all of that. There is no curtains. There is no divide between the people and the government. All of us are on one platform, and everything we're trying to say to the government is under there. They can read, go to the NSAS hashtag and see what young people are saying. And whatever we're demanding under that hashtag, you do it. If you want us to put it in the papers for you, we'll fund it. We'll put it on the paper so that you read it.
So now let's talk more about the organization of these protests. Now, people have worked together to effect the release of protesters arrested in different cities. One of the groups working on this says they've raised over 62 million naira in donations. They've also gotten donations in foreign currency. Food and medical services have been available. Hospital bills have been paid, and much more. Are you surprised at the level of organization coming from a leaderless movement?
I'm not. We are, an excellent generation. You have experienced us. Young people, all of us across everything we're doing have been very excellent. We have had to survive and strive in a system that is so difficult. So the average Nigerian young person is extremely intelligent, very resourceful. Well, we are constantly on survival mode. I tell my friends this, I'm supposed to be at a place in life where I'm comfortable, but I'm constantly on survival mode. Nigeria keeps you on that hustle, on that survival. And we're applying that to this. I don't know what they were thinking. My entire life I've had to survive. You have to keep 2, 3, 4 jobs. Things are getting more expensive. Every day you wake up in Nigeria, there's so much, you're swimming against the tide every single day. Every single day you wake up in this country, swimming against the tide. You have to find creative ways for your arms not to get tired. We are using that strength from swimming against the tide to figure this out. And what they are seeing are people who have adapted to difficulty. We have adapted to difficulty. We have adapted to living in a society that is chaotic. So we can organize within the chaos. It's not rocket science. It's not, I think that is it. Instead of focusing on, oh, wow, how are you doing this? It's better for us to look at how easy it is to do this. Yet certain people cannot do it, because this is like breathing in and out for young people, coordinating, making sure things are going the right way, not loitering the place, behaving ourselves. That is our normal. That is our normal. That is who we are. Excellence is our normal. And for those who excellence is not their normal, they should step aside. We've shown them that, look, this can be done. We just came out of COVID-19 lockdown where sharing of palliatives was so woeful. And then young people are showing you that, look, even for something that is leaderless, as long as everybody's doing their part, without corruption, without favoritism, everything is going to work. And this is the Nigeria we want. And this is the Nigeria a certain generation is refusing to give us. A certain generation destroyed. And this is what they should do. They should sit down and listen. Within 1 week, we have shown them that we can make this country work.
Well, the EndSARS movement has been receiving recognition internationally, including from Kanye West, Trey Songz, John Boyega, Rio Ferdinand, and most recently the CEO of Twitter, Jack Dorsey. Is this support of any impact for those who are on the streets protesting?
Of course. I mean, we feel that we're being heard. The world is supporting us. It's a good boost of morale. You know, it is. Jack endorsing this has more people donating. It means the world to us to know that people are watching and they care. And it should be clear that young people are going to use everything within their disposal legally to push this going forward. We're not illegal people. We don't use thugs. We don't employ government to do what it is they're not supposed to do. All we're here using is what we have within our reach, our own technical know-how, our intelligence, and we will win. They will give us what we want.
So interestingly enough, you brought up the issue of violence, and we have seen a few bits and pieces of violence during the protest, but protesters have said that the violence is actually being done to them. What do you think has kept these protests relatively peaceful? There is a history of protest in Nigeria, and I remember one person saying that not a single tire has been burnt, which is something that seems to be sort of like common in many protests in Nigeria. So what do you think has kept these protests relatively peaceful?
I mean, sensible Nigerian youth, of course. We have told ourselves we're not going to be violent. We're not the ones known to be violent. Let's be very clear. The Nigerian state promotes, indulges, and loves to negotiate with violence. It's not complicated. Nigerian youth stepped out on the streets to ask for human rights, to ask for accountability, to ask for justice. We didn't come to fight.
So on October 14th, the Nigerian Army released a statement saying the NA, Nigerian Army, hereby warns all subversive elements and troublemakers to desist from such acts as it remains highly committed to defend the country and her democracy at all costs. The NA is ready to fully support the civil authority in whatever capacity to maintain law and order and deal with any situation decisively. All officers and men are directed never to be distracted by anti-democratic forces and agents of disunity. How do you respond to this? What's your take on this?
I think I also saw in the place where they said their loyalties, President. Again, the army, their own issue, when we will still get to them with respect to human rights abuses since 2015, they are now trying to focus on people protesting. People protesting do not affect the sovereignty of the Nigerian nation. As in fact, peaceful protests strengthen democracies, they strengthen the sovereignty of the Nigerian nation. Right now, we still have parts of Nigeria that have been annexed by foreign countries. The army is not telling us anything about that. I think this happened about 2 years ago. Annexed parts of Nigeria. We still have parts of Nigeria completely occupied by Boko Haram. There are parts of Nigeria where people are struggling to survive and are dying as we speak. Banditry, herdsmen, all over the nation, security is breaking down. So I say that to say this, that the Nigerian army should be busy with their duty, which is protecting the Nigerian state, protecting the sovereignty of the Nigerian state, and ensuring the safety and survival of Nigeria. And how do they do that? By going to the armed conflicts that they are trained and employed to pay attention to, not putting their mouth in issues that pertain unarmed protesters. The Nigerian army cannot tell us that right now the biggest threat to the sovereignty of the Nigerian state are young people with placards, papers in their hands, stating that they want justice. It cannot be. Nigerian army needs to face its work and also needs to remember that we still have issues tailored before the ICC on cases of human rights abuses against them.
So, Ndi, do you consider it possible that the Nigerian army could come out of the barracks to restore law and order?
Well, I want us to revisit the term restore law and order. It gives the impression that we are being lawless and doing what is outside of our civic rights to do. We're not being lawless. We're organizing very well. We're maintaining law and order. if there's anybody who is interrupting this protest and causing a disruption to law and order, it's the Nigerian government, the Nigerian police, and other agents of the government who have been sent to disrupt protests. So when we're reporting, when we're discussing this, please, semantics is important. They're not here to restore law and order. Restoring law and order is the duty of the Nigerian police, as it is the part of those who are disrupting it, not young people.
So before I let you go, let me ask, how long are protesters willing to be on the streets? How long can young Nigerians and those who are supporting them sustain this protest?
As long as it takes.
The simple and short answer.
Yeah.
All right, Ndi Kato, thank you so much. Founder of the Dinadari Foundation, also a gender rights activist and a human rights activist. We appreciate your time today for sharing your thoughts on the End SARS protest. Thank you very much.